Hello. You know who I am. So, who hates their ex-in-laws? I do. I do. I have actually hoped so much in reference to my ex-in-laws. Oh, the amount of hope that I have just prayed about for my ex-in-laws is astronomical. So, we'll start on that. And so, first off, when it came to my ex-in-laws, specifically my ex-sister-in-law, Susie Marie Nichols Lopez, I had hoped and prayed that what she did to my dead ex-husband's casket, along with my other ex-sister-in-law, Mary Evangelina Nichols Osteen, and then, their children who had put in religious items and spiritual items into my dead ex-husband's casket. Their dead brother, by the way, because they have a living brother. But my dead ex-husband, despite the atrociousness of that individual and that marriage, legally only, I just prayed and hoped that just an astronomical amount of downfall would occur to them, which is ironic because anytime that I had ever gotten or given myself a tarot reading, I was always, the positioner or the questioner in the tarot always was the tower. Like there have been very few readings that I have ever gotten or given where the questioner was the tower. And that would be me, right? Yes, rhetorical question. And so I warned my ex-in-laws, do not put that in there. You know your dead brother was an atheist. You know that it is against what he believed when he was alive. I'm warning you. And that includes my ex-boyfriend, the one that I was forced to date, Cactus Jack, also known as Jeffrey Kirkendall Jr. So instead of them heeding my warning multiple times in different ways, my ex-sister-in-law, Susie Marie Nichols Lopez, had put all sorts of stuff, not telling me that she had arranged for my dead ex-husband to be transported to a Catholic church for his funerary rites. My understanding before I had arrived to Fort Worth from San Antonio had been that there was going to be a Catholic individual who would do the memorial aspect, that would come forward and be at Laurel Land Funeral Home. I had no idea that she had arranged to have his body in his casket transported to St. Patrick's Cathedral. And so I had asked her to not do that. The arrangements have already been made. Okay. They can't be canceled and just put to where he goes in the ground. No. It's for, she claimed it was for their mom, my ex-mother-in-law. She claimed it was for their grandmother on their mother's side, who came down to Texas from New York, that I had paid for, by the way. I was supposed to be reimbursed. I was not. And so, all these other aspects, and so, my ex-brother-in-law, Tony Walker Nichols, put in a simple cross. You do know your brother was an atheist? Yes. Okay. Grandpa Nichols put on a yarmulke. you do know that your son, your dead one, was an atheist. Yes. Okay. I mean, I'm just saying, like, you want to keep to, okay. My ex-mother-in-law went and purchased a whole bunch of different religious symbols from other countries. You do know your dead son was an atheist. She didn't care. Okay. My ex-sister-in-law, Mary Evangelina Nichols Osteen, she went and put in a bunch of religious symbols from other religions. You do know that your dead brother was an atheist. It's fine. It's no big deal. I am the executrix. I am the only executrix to my dead ex-husband, your dead brother's estate. Oh, you're just being over dramatic, Susan. No, it's legal. It's not over dramatic. It is the point that I am the only executrix. Mary Evangelina Nichols Osteen, her two daughters, put in religious symbols. Do you, Sandra, Marie, understand your dead uncle was an atheist? Well, my mom said it's okay. You're his ex-wife, so what does it matter? Okay. Ariel Marie Osteen, you do know your dead uncle was an atheist. My mom said it's okay. Okay. As far as Susie Marie Nichols Lopez, her children, Brianna, Marie, listen to me. You do know your dead uncle was an atheist. Her response was different. She said her mom said she had to. So she picked out the least offensive as possible. Okay. All right. Marissa Marie, listen to me. You know your dead uncle was an atheist. Do you understand what an atheist is? Her same response as Brianna Marie. Very similar. Joseph Anthony Lopez. Do you understand what an atheist is? His response, I don't care, my mom is more important than you. Okie dokie. Okie dokie. Fantastic. Fantastic. So, my son, my daughter, and I put in a letter because I was like, I hate you. You owe me. Don't forget all these things that you did and you confessed to and blah, blah, blah. I hate you. I'm glad you're dead. I hate you. Like the equivalent of. But also, don't forget that pact you made because you owe me a lot. And then did a little prayer like, don't forget. You owe me for so much. So, that's what I did. No worries, no harm, because not my problem. My son put in a skateboard because that's a non-religious item. And, that was what he had remembered his biological father discussing. Okay. And my daughter put in a rainbow-colored sea turtle. Mainly because, well, she didn't understand it wasn't going to get to stay. So she just did that. And I was like, okay, how? And so, not a religious item. So, okay. You guys sure, as far as like my ex-in-laws, you guys sure you don't, oh, this was their logic. They couldn't take what they put into my dead ex-husband's casket out, but they could do pictures in front of it. That was their logic. That was their logic, that they couldn't reach into his casket to remove what they had put in there. They could not cancel taking his casket to a Catholic cathedral, but they could do pictures in front of his casket posing with his dead body. I don't understand that to this day. At all. I never have been able to understand that whatsoever. I don't think I'm the only one, like at all. I don't think I'm the only one who's just been like, why? What, like, why? Do you understand what you're doing? Susan, you're so overdramatic. Okay, sure. Not really. I'm warning you. Like, do you understand the spiritual ramifications of what you are doing to yourselves? Ugh, what do you know? Oh, I don't know. I've read a few books. Couple here, couple there. Before and after my head injury on Palm Sunday in 2000, I can't count how large those numbers of books are. So, whatever. Oh, okay. I don't think you understand what you're doing. No, Susan, you just don't understand. You don't understand spiritual or religious stuff. I don't know about that. I think I understand and comprehend quite a bit. No, Susan, what do you know? I know what you're doing is against every single religion in the world. That's what I know. Every religion in this planetary system has absolutely been violated by all of you. My son, my daughter, and I are the only ones that are in the clear with what you are doing. You should not do that. So again, they took more pictures in front. It's like, come on, Susan, let's stand in front of... yeah, like the... It was... I hate you so much, ex-in-laws. Like, I really do at this very moment. So very much. And now, I, like, absolutely despise them so much more. Like, mainly my two ex-sisters-in-law. Far more, because I understand that when it comes to Grandpa Nichols and Tony Walker Nichols, there was, like, a wish and a hope for them. Like, maybe, just maybe, if they put that in there, like, maybe God will be, like, nice, you know, forgiving in that regard. And it's like, you don't know what has occurred, so, I mean, you kind of do, but you don't know about that pact, because that was not discussed very often. That was a little like, that's a none of your business sort of thing. And so, you know, ironically, Cactus Jack, also known as Jeffrey Kirkendall Jr., was very much aware. He was very much aware of that. Not only because my now dead ex-husband, when he was alive, before the final separation, had told Cactus Jack what he did. And he thought, you know, this is what Cactus Jack was told. Essentially, he, meaning my now dead ex-husband, when he was alive, before the final separation, had told Cactus Jack, yeah, one day decided to try to make things work, and, da-da-da-da, and went into, the spiritual cabinet that he was flat out told, do not go into. Flat out told, do not touch the doors. Flat out told, do not do anything, nothing. And so my now dead ex-husband admitted to Cactus Jack, not only did he do what I told him specifically not to do, like in detail, do not do this, do not do that, do not do this, do not do that. Like, it's very, very simple. It's very, very clear. All you have to do is listen to the words coming out of my mouth. Like, that's it. But instead, he went into my spiritual cabinet, took out my candles in his final attempt just before the first separation. Or actually, it was after the first right at like the week of the first separation, where he had gotten my spiritual candles, put them in the wrong directions after putting my children into bed and all that. And then he laid in the backyard naked in the center of the lit candles and all that sort of stuff. And he had already typed up a letter and all this stuff. And then he like pricked his finger and put like his blood on it like I was supposed to care. And I was like, yeah, and so when I got back to my house and I found that little typed up letter, it's like, oh, okay, well. I did not want to be married to him, like, at all, ever. It was literally for the safety of my son at the time and myself, as well as, like, anybody in the path. It was that simple, because I was very much informed what would happen if I tried to run. And instead, I kind of figured, that trail that would be left, it would be full of, all sorts of, he very much told me about the different things that he was willing to do. And it was like, yeah, I don't want that to happen to innocent people. So, okay. And then, the equivalent of what happened to my ex-sisters and brothers-in-law, or brother-in-law, cousin, Brandy. And the irony is that Mary Evangelina Nichols Osteen and Susie Marie Nichols Lopez knew that she had fled the state of Texas to go to Georgia to get away from her abusive husband at the time. And he left a trail in his wake on his way to go get her. And Susie Marie Nichols Lopez and Mary Evangelina Nichols Osteen had told him where she was, knowing that he had broken multiple bones of hers. The irony of ironies. And so it was ridiculous. Like when I wound up meeting Brandy the first time, I want to take a quick pause on the other stuff. When I met Brandy for the first time, very sweet female, and got along, and we talked, and then, her children and stuff like that, and I could see similarities between her mother and the way Anna Louise Lally Hom had treated me, as well as my children. I was like, okay. And then later, Susie Marie Nichols Lopez told me what she did along with Mary Evangelina Nichols Osteen. And I looked at her and I was like, I hope she never forgives you. she has every right to never forgive you for that. Because not only did you put her at risk, you put her children at risk. I hope she finds a way to move forward and live a better life. And I hope her children are able to do the same. But I hope she never forgives you. And Susie Marie Nichols Lopez, her response to me was, "Oh, Susan, seriously? Like, why do you have to be so mean?" It's not really mean. It's quite warranted. Quite warranted. And instead, that is what it is. Though I have a feeling that Brandy never forgave them. Rightfully so. Rightfully so. Kind of here on that. By a lot. And so, going back to the other aspect, my my now dead ex-husband had confessed the aspects of not just the ritual that he did, but also the threat into the marriage, legally only, to him, to Cactus Jack. And Cactus Jack, also known as Jeffrey Kirkendall Jr., said, "Oh, that's so funny." And it's like, how is that funny? I don't find that funny at all. Well, not only did he confess that, he confessed the aspects of the ritual and that whole thing. So when I had gone into the house, went upstairs, took care of my children, saw the candles flickering out in the backyard, and it's like, yeah, I don't care. my children are far more important than you. I'm just going to go. I'm going to take care of my children. Go make sure they're good. Because I don't care about you. And I went up the stairs, took care of my son and my daughter, made sure they were okay, tucked them in, put them back to sleep. Then I, went and took a shower. A little cold-hearted, but, don't care. He was an abusive piece of trash. That's what he was. And so, after it got cleaned up, went downstairs, and he was still laying there, and like, I guess I'll go see what this is about. And so, right when I was coming down the stairs, I saw him reposition himself, like he had gone to the door to be like, he was like, yeah, yeah, yep, okie dokie, whatever. So then, go outside, and he's just laying there in the grass, and it's like, I was laying on that concrete path for how long? Alright, hello. Wakey, wakey, wakey. So that wasn't what I did, but the equivalent of it. And then he did the equivalent of what my biological sister did when calling her phone and calling the house line in San Antonio a bunch of times. What? It's like, yeah, yeah, you get the fuck up. Like, I want to kick you. I do. I'm not gonna though. So I'm just gonna, and he's like, oh, blah, blah, blah. And then, he blew out the candles and stuff. And I'm sitting in my chair and I'm looking at him like, so, you did not heed my warning. Okay. Alright, well, whatever. Hello. And what is your excuse? What did you do? Stupid. And so, he admitted, like, he had studied Wicca. And I'm like, uh-huh. What about it? Oh, it's like, yeah. Okay. Sure. I don't know what books you studied, but you didn't do anything right, like at all. However, what you did do is a whole bunch of stuff wrong. Like a whole bunch of stuff wrong. And so, yeah. What was your intent with that? And he would explain it. I'm like, yeah, so no. What you did do is essentially sign a dotted line in a proverbial sort of way. And, that is what it is. And so then, he admitted, not just to me, but to Cactus Jack, he had tried it a couple other times and different stuff. I was like, yeah, you're stupid. So dumb. So dumb. Don't mess with things you don't know, especially when you're told not to. Like, listen, you were given a warning a whole bunch of times. So, irony of irony. So, later on, Cactus Jack goes and says, I want to do a ritual. Oh, what do you want to do? And he's like, I don't want, Robert around anymore. Well, I can agree with that. But, he's got that sealed all on his own. He's got that sealed completely all by himself. Yeah, so what is it? And he's like, I want to do a ritual and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I can lend some energy to that. However, it's not going to be the way you think. And Cactus Jack looked at me and he's like, oh, but No. I don't think you understand. You know how my dead ex-husband had done some stupid things? Yeah. Well, if you want to do your little ritual, you will be sealing yourself to my dead ex-husband. Well, at that time, ex-husband. It was right before the final separation. And he was like, oh, yeah, like, that's fine. We're like brothers in arms. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. You are brothers in arms. You are. Are you sure you want to seal that permanently? Cactus Jack, also known as Jeffrey Kirkendall Jr., said, yes, that sounds like fun. That's the ideal, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Can do that. However, as a forewarning, it is not going to come around in the way you think. What do you mean? I don't have words for that. But your brother-in-law already admitted to you what he did. Yes. And I told you, as well as he told you, that there was a pact made. Yeah. Okie dokie then. Alright. I highly recommend you don't test that theory. But if you want to do a ritual, you make your little prayers. And I'm going to do the sealing. understand what I mean by that? And Cactus Jack, also known as Jeffrey Kirkendall Jr., said, "Oh, this sounds like so much fun. Okay. Okay. You want to be brothers in arms? No problem. No problem." And he kind of got a little chill, and he goes, "I'm almost a little creeped out. You should be. You should be. Because I'm giving you the warning that you should not do that. If I give you a warning, you should heed my warning. You should do as I warn you. Or, if you choose not to, you're going to deal with the consequences. Do you understand that?" Cactus Jack said, or Cactus Jack, also known as Jeffrey Kirkendall Jr., "Oh, it's not a big deal. What do you know about spirituality?" "A few things. I can't count that high. At all. I can't count that high. But I know a few things." And so Cactus Jack, also known as Jeffrey Kirkendall Jr., "Alright then. If you're not going to stop and you're not going to leave me alone, okie dokie then. But you will deal with the consequences of your actions." Oh, why do you have to be so overdramatic? Well, you know that Robert has already gotten those tattoos, correct? Yes. Okay. Okay. That's fine. And I mean that apparently in the same way that drill sergeant meant it. What do you mean? Apparently you haven't been paying attention to what I've told you. Don't worry about that. You really want to do it? Yes! Okie dokie. Alright. Don't work. But okay. Okay. So, went out to the oak tree in the backyard. Well, the stump of the oak tree. And it happened to be the oak tree that when I was cultivating the ground with a hand cultivator, it accidentally stabbed a frog. Still feel bad about that. Still feel... I mean, he lived. He lived. I still feel bad about it, though, because, I was using the hand cultivator and breaking up the ground to put in the tulip bulbs and the freesia, and then... What the... Oh, and I felt so bad. Oh, I felt such... And, kind of whatever it off. And... Still feel bad about that. However, shortly after that, then there were a bunch of toads in the yard. It was the weirdest thing. So I obviously have to pause to explain that. So, I was using the hand cultivator as a 3-prong hand cultivator with a miniature axe on the other side. I know that there are people who know what I'm talking about. And so I'm just, it was after a very bad conversation that I had to deal with. And so I'm just taking, that's the only way I could. So garden. And then, and, the little frog. still feel bad. I still feel bad about that. It was completely by accident. Nonetheless, like a couple days or a couple weeks later, there were these huge, huge toads, like all over the backyard. It's like, this is San Antonio. Where is there a water source? Haha. That you guys are like coming out of woodwork. Where did you come from? And you know, like there were a couple little baby like frogs. They're just, and it was actually kind of funny because Nick and Princess, the miniature schnauzers, they had no idea what these little frogs were. So Nick and Princess go like do, you know, the dog thing where they go sniff it, and you know, and then so scared. It was funny. It was hilarious. And so yeah, I watched that for a while because I was. As long as they didn't go to bite the frogs, it was okay, you know. But yeah, it just all these little frogs all over the backyard, and I was like, where did you come from? And then this one night, I'm walking on the side of the house where it went towards the gate between my house and my neighbor's house, and I hear, and I'm, what the? Where did that come from? And so I look, and there was a little flower bed that was about ankle high with the little scallops, the red brick scallops. And I look over, there's a bullfrog like that big in the backyard, just sitting there. And I'm like, hey, that's different. Okay. And the bullfrog just sat there. It was like, okay, cool. That's big old, like, huge, just huge bullfrog. It's like, I didn't know you could get that big. Well, everything's bigger in the state of Texas. All right, then, I guess that's the answer. Because, wow, you got a big old belly, don't you? You big old, huge, huge. Alright, whatever. Cutie. Because I'm weird like that. And, you know, I went to go take care of a few things. A little bullfrog, well, little, you know, bullfrog just kind of hopped after it. It's like, okay, took a few steps. Ribbit. Hey. What are you doing? Take a few steps, ribbit. You're not going to mess with me, are you? Like, what is this? What are you doing? I don't understand. And so, it's huge. I mean, by technicalities, I probably should have been scared. But he wasn't going to do anything harmful. It was just one of those, okay, you're just going to follow me wherever I go. Okie dokie, then that's different. Okay. And so, within a week, that big old bullfrog was sitting in the dog bowl of the water, the automatic dog bowl water feeder thing, just sitting there. Nick and Princess refused to go near the, I was just like, and it's like, you're just going to sit there, huh? And he would. At nighttime, he would go over there, sit there, hang out while I was doing, you know, the stuff online and stuff like that. And I had no worries about June bugs. Like that, that big old, he barely fit into the automatic water feeder thing. And it was one of those like 10, 20 gallon ones. Just, the bowl, you just barely fit in there. It's like, okay. huge. Like, that's all. But hey, eat those June bugs. That's cool. I'm cool with that. You get those June bugs. And he did. Oh, he did. Like, Junebug would start coming towards the patio, and then I didn't hear it anymore. I was like, that's cool. high five. Whatever, I don't know. He messed those Junebugs up. He did. He just, okay. You get him. Cutie. Huge. Huge. Like, I just huge. Like, he was like, that's like 7 inches in diameter. Just huge. It's like, oh, okay, I didn't know you, I really guess that's true in that saying. You know, like, everything's bigger in the state of Texas, because huge. And so, it's all these little itty bitty frogs, and then a big old bullfrog, and, alright, well, you know, whatever, okay. That's so different, okay. Whatever. Just huge. Huge. Just huge. And so, you know, I've had some weird experiences with animals. I don't deny that. But that one was just, oh, okay. I kind of want to pet you. However, I don't know what type of bullfrog you are. And I know that there are some frogs that have some stuff, and I don't know if you're one of those, but you're cute. You are so cute. I guess I'll just, and every now and then he'd let out a big old croak, and it's like, okay, well, you know, whatever. Ribbit, okie dokie, oh, you got, oh, is that what you got to say? All right, and just he just sat there, and yeah. Is what it is. So at the stump of where one of the 2 oak trees were in the backyard, you know, Cactus Jack. Not related though, funny. Very disparate way. You know, he did, you know, his thing. It's like, all right, well, and so, you know, the words were what they were, and it's like, yeah, but it's the intent that's of importance. And so while the words were what they were, it was one of those, and your pact has been made by your own choice. And then his final sealing, essentially, was at the funeral, where he, along with all the, yeah, depending on what you believe, of course, spiritually, right? And so he did all that, along with all the rest of my ex-in-laws, and it's like, are you sure? Because, like, once that casket is closed, that's it. You got nothing left. And so, you know, it is what it is. And so, at that point, it was one of those, I wish you listened to me, but you chose not to. So, because you chose not to, I'm a hope. I'm gonna hope in so many ways. And you're never gonna be able to undo that. Ever. Ever, 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 ever. And so, you know, I mean, you can confess to different things and stuff like that, but unless, like, certain things occur, and I'm the only one who can allow certain things, nope. Permanent. So I gave several other warnings that were not listened to at all. I mean, thankfully the priest did. Thankfully the priest listened to me when I was like, hey, can you at least look? Like, you'll see with your own eyes and be able to know that, like, they did that. That would not me. That was them, their choices, all that sort of stuff. I could tell you who put what in where. But yeah, I mean, realistically, if Laurel Land Funeral Home had any cameras, I don't even need to do that. And so, there you go. But nonetheless, thankfully, they did not take his casket into the actual cathedral and do the funerary rites there. They did that, in the cafeteria area. It's like, awesome. Thank you for listening. Really appreciate that. But that priest is still going to have to deal with certain things because of, I mean, I could be wrong, but I have a feeling that there are certain things in that regard. And so, I don't want to piss anybody off. I damn sure don't want to piss off the Holy Roman Catholic Church. Definitely, that. No. I don't want to piss anybody off that's not warranted to. And the Holy Roman Catholic Church is definitely, like, really up there. As far as, I know that there have been certain things that are some issues in that regard. I still don't want to piss them off. No. I don't want to piss anybody off. And again, in the warranted aspect, that means you have to come at me and mine repeatedly. And then, like, when I, okay, well, gave you the warning. Don't be surprised. I was born in the year of the dog, so I'm going to bite back. Like any other, I know, I get it. Nonetheless, yeah. Do not be surprised in that regard. So it's kind of a little bit ironic, being back in the state of Texas, in those regards, because, of who I've had to contact, and I do have to take care of some stuff in the morning. Technically it's morning, but, daylight. And so, go take care of that and send some books to some more individuals, or groups, and that way they can have that, so that way, that hopefully helps in that regard. Although, I mean, it's not that I haven't tried to get the information out there to the different ones. I spoke about it with different people, like, different aspects I know, but there's a lot of stuff, and just saying, just ridiculous. So yeah, I've been hoping by a lot, and so I'm I'm this full right now. I am done when it comes to certain things, especially when it comes to my Medal of Honor art project and that whole thing, because I cannot be the only individual absolutely infuriated by that. And before ending this particular video broadcast, I realize now, which I apologize, because I realize now, when I had gotten one of the rubbings from one particular location, in Washington State, I just realized it was a Hebrew location. And I do not remember the name specifically, but I do not remember the symbol being on there. And had I remembered that, which again I do apologize to the Hebrews and that, I would have done what I could as far as a Hebrew traditional aspect. However, if there was a Christian symbol on there, that's what I did. And if there was not a Christian symbol on there, it was whatever quote, because I did not remember that it was in a Hebrew cemetery, and that was not to be offensive at all. That was just because of my head injury issues from Palm Sunday in 2000. That's all that was. That was not to be disrespectful at all. And I hope that's understood and comprehended. I really truthfully do. I cannot remember the last name, I acknowledge that, but I do remember that there was one, and I can't remember which one it was. However, it was not intentional to be, mean, if it was viewed as such. Hopefully it's understood that that was, because I saw cross markers in essentially anywhere I went, and so I figured that that was a accepted aspect, and so if it was misunderstood because of my own issues, I do apologize. That was not to be disrespectful at all. I hope that's understood, because there's several Hebrews that are Medal of Honor recipients, and if that symbol was on there, that would have been how I would have completed that particular back portion of the piece. But I would have figured out how to. But then, at the same time, I have here's the dichotomy of that: making sure the symbol was correct for the Hebrew writing, because of the issues online with the imagery when researching things. And so if there was not a Hebrew symbol on the marker, the Star of David, that's the only way I would have known. And so, while I know that there was one, I can't remember which. I think it was Olympia. I think it was an Olympia. However, I do remember seeing Christian markers in there. And so, and I had gotten more than one Medal of Honor recipient marker rubbing. So, that particular day, and so with the altitude changes, I know for some people that might be considered an excuse, but it is a reason. And so, but I would have done everything as far as research that I could for the correct symbol the way I did, as far as Angel Moroni's Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, founded by Prophet Joseph Smith, to find the correct quote. And in that regard, if I'm inaccurate, which in certain ways I guess in some ways I am, because that was the only continuous aspect that I found on different websites. That quote from Revelations. That was it. I didn't find any other prayers. I didn't find any of the other stuff. And so that wasn't to be disrespectful at all. And I hope that's understood and comprehended. I truly do. Because, no. I have this big thing about respect of spirituality and religions and stuff like that, preferring more of a peacefully balanced aspect, of course. Nonetheless, Probably not the smartest aspect, however, trying the best I could. And so, hopefully that's understood in that regard. I'm not like my ex-in-laws, obviously. Or my biological mother or biological sister. So, obviously, and in certain ways, my biological father. So, however, there are certain aspects where my biological father actually did respect that aspect, and yeah, so there is that. So, as far as like my ex-in-laws, if they continued on the same path as they probably did, I warned them. I did. My ex-sister-in-law, Susie Marie Nichols Lopez, she was given a bunny rabbit. She left it outside in the backyard in the state of Texas. Because my now dead ex-husband, when he was alive, thought that I was joking when I told him I'm allergic to rabbits. I can eat them. But the dander I'm allergic to. And so he went against my warning, and I walked into the house one day and I had issues breathing. And I didn't even know that there was a rabbit. And so I had to tell him to give it away. And so he gave it to Susie Marie Nichols Lopez. And then she left it out on the back patio in the state of Texas. You know what happened to that rabbit. Yeah. That was cruel. Nonetheless,